My precious child, you have wandered through many moments where the world convinced you that strength meant never showing your wounds, never admitting you're trembling, never allowing your voice to crack under the pressure of everything you carried within. There were nights when you waited for relief that didn't come, mornings where you rose while your heart felt like it had not rested at all. You kept moving even when your spirit felt tired beyond words. You held on when your hands had grown weary from gripping hope that seemed to slip through your fingers. I saw every moment. I watched as you carried burdens that were never meant to be carried alone. I heard the unspoken questions that lived behind your quiet eyes. You wondered if you were truly seen, if your pain mattered, if I still remembered you. I did. I always did. Even in the silence that felt like I had stepped away, I was still holding you steady. Every breath you took during your hardest hours was evidence of my closeness. You did not survive because of your own strength alone. You endured because my presence wrapped itself around you even when you didn't feel it. My child, you have believed at times that your weakness disqualifies you, that your doubts are signs of failure, that your sorrow is something to hide. But I look at those tender places with compassion, not disappointment. The moments where you felt broken did not push me away, instead they drew me closer. I do not love you because you are strong. I love you because you are mine. And being mine means you never walk alone through shadows. Even the parts of you that feel uncertain are precious to me because they are the very places where I will plant renewal. You have tried so hard to keep yourself together, to appear all right, to convince the world you are fine, but now I am calling you into a gentler way. You no longer have to be your own shelter. You no longer have to be your own healer. The weight you have carried within your chest, the weight of memory, expectation, disappointment, longing, is beginning to lift. Not because you forced it away, but because my presence is softly dissolving it. My beloved child, you have measured your worth by how well you handled hardship, by how much you endured without breaking, by how much you carried for others. But I measure your worth by something far deeper, by the love I placed within you, by the tenderness that survived even suffering, by the courage that kept rising even when you felt completely undone. I know the places where your heart still aches. I know the wounds that time did not erase. I know the chapters of your story that still feel unfinished, unresolved, unanswered. You do not need to pretend those places don't exist. I am entering them with kindness, not judgment. I am touching the old sorrows not to reopen them, but to release what has held you in silence for so long. You do not need to force healing. You only need to let me inside the rooms you've kept shut. I am not here to rush you or demand from you. I am here to breathe peace into what has been heavy. I am here to restore the softness of your spirit without taking away the wisdom your journey has given. You are not behind. You are not late. Nothing is ruined. Nothing is wasted. Every tear you cried watered the soil of your becoming. Every silent prayer shaped the foundation of what is unfolding now. You thought you were merely surviving, but you were being prepared. There is more ahead for you than loss, more ahead for you than endurance, more ahead for you than simply holding on. I am leading you into a life where you are not weighed down, where you do not have to shrink yourself to survive, where the peace you longed for becomes the ground you walk on. My child, feel the warmth moving through your spirit now. That is my hand resting upon the very part of you that once felt unreachable. You are being renewed in places no one else knew were hurting. You are being strengthened in ways that will feel natural and gentle, not forced or overwhelming. You are being restored to a state of wholeness that feels like breathing freely again. This is not something you must achieve. It is something you allow. My love is not given because you earned it. It is given because you are infinitely cherished, and I have never once taken my eyes from you. Even when you believed you were far from me, I was closer than your heartbeat. You were never abandoned, not for a moment, not for a breath, not for a heartbeat. And now, my beloved one, I am leading you into a new beginning, not by erasing your past, but by transforming the meaning of it. The story is shifting, the weight is lifting, the dawn is rising within you. You have believed for so long that your healing would come from external change, from circumstances finally becoming easier, from people suddenly understanding your heart, from life arranging itself into something gentle. But healing does not begin outside of you. It begins right here, in this quiet turning, in this moment where your soul begins to trust that it doesn't have to fight anymore. I am teaching your heart how to rest again, how to breathe without fear, how to open without flinching. Do not be afraid of the softness you feel rising inside you. It is not weakness, it is the restoration of your true nature. The world taught you to brace, to guard, to clench around your pain. But I am teaching you to relax into a peace that does not have to be earned. You are safe now in ways you have not felt for a long time. You do not need to keep watch for everything that could go wrong. I am guarding you. I am surrounding you. I am carrying you. Let the tension fall from your spirit. Let the walls you built around your heart dissolve in my presence. You are stepping into a landscape of inner freedom, where sorrow does not control you and fear does not govern your choices. Even now, your breathing is changing. Your chest loosens, your thoughts slow. Your body remembers what it feels like to be held. The parts of you that were once in survival are beginning to trust that survival is no longer needed. I know how long you have lived in alertness, waiting for the world to shift, waiting for the next hurt, waiting for the next collapse. But that chapter is closing. Not because life will never challenge you again, but because you will meet everything with an unshakable center rooted in my presence. You will not crumble under the weight of life the way you once feared. Your spirit is being fortified, not by force, but by tenderness. I am not shaping you into someone harder. I am shaping you into someone truer. You do not need to deny your sensitivity to survive. Your sensitivity is part of your gift. Your empathy, your depth, the way your heart feels the world so vividly. These are not flaws, they are reflections of the love I placed within you. You were never meant to be numb. You were meant to feel deeply, to love deeply, to reflect the gentleness of my nature. I am protecting that tenderness now, shielding it from the world's harshness, nurturing it back to life. You will not lose yourself again. You will not abandon your needs to be loved. You will not silence your voice to keep peace. You will not shrink so others can feel larger. You are rising not in noise, not in force, but in quiet and steady truth. You are remembering who you were before life frightened you into forgetting. The version of you that laughed without hesitation, that believed without doubt, that hoped without fear. That version of you is not gone. It is returning, more mature, more wise, more compassionate than before. Your heart will learn to trust again, not because the world proves itself worthy, but because I am restoring your inner foundation. You will discover joy that does not tremble, peace that does not fade, love that does not collapse under pressure. You are becoming whole, my beloved child. And wholeness does not require perfection. It requires presence. Stay here with me. Feel the gentleness that is settling into your bones, the warmth forming in the center of your being, the quiet that touches thoughts once full of noise. This is me. This is real. And it is only the beginning of what I am doing in you. And as you remain here in this stillness, my beloved one, something sacred is unfolding in the quiet chambers of your spirit. Something you do not need to force. something you do not need to analyze, something you simply allow. The places where your heart felt fractured are being gently knit together, not by pressure, but by presence. The memories that once tightened your chest are losing their sting as peace slowly rises to meet them. The ache you thought would stay forever is beginning to soften. This is not temporary relief. This is not a passing emotional moment. This is the deep work of restoration that only I can do. I am not just soothing your pain, I am transforming it. I am turning grief into understanding, fear into courage, loneliness into connection, and confusion into clarity. You may not fully see the shift yet, but your spirit knows it is happening. You can feel something unclenching inside you, something loosening that had been tense for so long you forgot what ease felt like. You are stepping out of the patterns of self-protection that once felt necessary to survive. You no longer need to hide your vulnerability to be safe. You no longer need to silence your heart to be accepted. You no longer need to push through life pretending you are unaffected. I am freeing you from the burden of pretending. I am lifting the weight of carrying everything alone. My beloved child, you do not have to earn rest. You do not have to justify your need for comfort. You do not have to apologize for being human. I created you with limits, not as flaws, but as invitations to lean, to trust, to come to me. Every time you felt overwhelmed, it was not a sign that you were inadequate. It was a sign that you were never meant to bear so much without me. Let yourself lean now. Let the part of you that has held everything together finally exhale. Allow the softness that is rising in you to stay. It is not a weakness, it is your returning wholeness. You are safe enough now to feel again. You are safe enough now to hope again. You are safe enough now to open the doors of your heart without fear that everything inside will spill into chaos. I am holding you in a way no one ever has. I am not letting you slip. I am not letting you fall. You are not too much, not too fragile, not too late, not too broken. Everything that has shaped your journey until this moment has been part of your preparation for who you are becoming. Nothing has been wasted, not a tear, not a prayer, not a sigh, not a breath. Even the moments that felt empty were forming the space for what now fills you. I am restoring the light that dimmed beneath the weight of surviving. You will rise gently, effortlessly, naturally, like dawn returning after a night that felt endless. And when others look at you, they will see something shining quietly in your eyes, something steady, something calm, something unbroken. They will not know that this transformation began here, in this sacred stillness, where your heart allowed itself to be seen, held, and healed. You have feared that if you stopped holding everything together, your world would fall apart. Yet what is happening now is the realization that you were never the one holding it all in place. I was. You have mistaken your endurance for isolation, believing that because you stood alone physically, you were alone spiritually, but you were never abandoned. Every moment your heart felt too heavy to carry was a moment I was carrying you. Even when you questioned my nearness, when your prayers felt unanswered, when silence felt like distance, I was working in places your eyes could not see. I was rearranging, aligning, preparing, protecting. I was guiding your spirit through a landscape of experiences that taught you how to feel deeply, love truthfully, and rise again with wisdom that cannot be taken from you. You thought the pain broke you, but it was shaping you into someone who can hold light with reverence and tenderness. The world tried to convince you that your softness was something to hide, something to harden, something to shield. But I am reminding you that softness is sacred. The world does not understand the strength of a heart that chooses compassion after disappointment, gentleness after harm, openness after being misunderstood. It is one of the rarest forms of courage. Your compassion is not a wound, it is your crown. Your empathy is not a weakness, it is your inheritance. I have seen every time you loved in ways that no one acknowledged. I have seen the forgiveness you offered when anger would have been easier. I have seen you speak kindly when your heart ached. I have seen the patience you gave when exhaustion weighed you down. I have seen you choose love again and again, even when it cost you something. You may feel invisible in your goodness, but your spirit is radiant with the evidence of love's endurance. This radiance is not fading, it is growing. And soon you will notice how differently the world will respond to you, not because you change for the world, but because you are remembering who you are in me. You will no longer chase after what was never able to hold your heart. You will no longer try to prove your worth to those who cannot see it. You will no longer shrink so others can feel large beside you. Your essence is rising to its natural height, its true shape, its divine fullness. The fear that once controlled you is losing its power. The doubts that once tangled your thoughts are loosening. The sadness that once lived quietly behind your ribs is lifting, not all at once, but gradually, like morning light slowly softening the edges of the night. You are remembering what it feels like to breathe without dread. You are remembering what it feels like to exist without defending every part of your heart. You are remembering what it feels like to belong, not to the world, but to love itself. You have never been outside my embrace. You could not be if you tried. And now, the truth of that nearness is returning to your awareness like a warm tide rising within your chest. This is your homecoming, not to a place, not to a person, but to the quiet knowing that you are held, cherished, and guided by a love that has never wavered. And as this truth sinks softly into the deepest parts of you, something within you begins to recognize that your journey was never simply about enduring hardship. It was about awakening to a love that existed before your first breath and will remain long after every fear dissolves. You have believed for so long that you needed to earn belonging, that you needed to prove yourself worthy of care, that you had to be extraordinary just to deserve peace. Yet none of that was ever true. You were loved before you tried, before you succeeded, before you failed, before you struggled. You were loved simply because you exist, because your soul carries a reflection of the divine that cannot be erased by mistakes, hardships, or wounds. This love has never dimmed, not for a moment, not for a heartbeat. You have misunderstood silence as distance, but silence was the room in which your heart grew strong enough to hear me. You have misunderstood waiting as neglect, but waiting was where the foundation of your spirit was being strengthened. You have misunderstood the slowness of healing as absence, but healing was happening inwardly, beneath the surface, beyond your knowing. Now your awareness is catching up to the truth that has always held you. You are cherished in ways your mind cannot yet describe. You are precious in ways your experience has not yet fully reflected. But soon, the outer world will begin to shift to match the renewal that is happening inside you. You will notice that what once triggered fear no longer holds the same power. You will feel a steadiness in your heart when uncertainty appears. You will sense a quiet knowing guiding your steps, even when the path ahead is not fully visible. This is how restoration works, not through noise, not through sudden dramatic change, but through gentle realignment of every part of your being with the truth of who you have always been. You will begin to respond to life differently, not because you are forcing yourself to be strong, but because strength has taken root in a place where fear once lived. You will speak with clarity, not because you are trying to prove yourself, but because confidence is awakening naturally. You will love without losing yourself, not because you are guarding your heart, but because your love now flows from a place of fullness rather than emptiness. You will walk forward, not driven by anxiety, but guided by peace. And in this peace, my child, you will rediscover joy, not the fleeting kind that rises and falls with circumstance, but the quiet, steady joy that comes from knowing you are held, guided, chosen, and deeply understood. The joy that does not depend on who stays or who leaves. The joy that does not vanish when life is imperfect. The joy that remains because it is rooted in me. And in that joy, your spirit will finally exhale in the way it has longed to for so long. And as this joy grows quietly inside you, it will begin to reshape the way you see yourself, the way you speak to yourself, the way you move through the world. You will no longer look at your reflection through the lens of past pain or through the eyes of those who misunderstood your worth. You will see yourself with the gentleness and honor with which I have always seen you. The voice inside you that once criticized, doubted, and diminished your value will begin to soften, replaced by a steady, loving awareness that you are deeply significant, not because of what you accomplish, not because of how strong you appear, not because of how much you give, but because your very existence carries meaning. I have placed a light within you that no darkness can extinguish. Even when life felt overwhelming and you believed the light had gone out, it never did. It was simply covered by layers of hurt that are now being lifted. You will notice yourself treating your own heart with more tenderness, allowing yourself to rest without guilt, allowing yourself to say no without fear, allowing yourself to receive love without shrinking. The patterns that once held you back are losing their power because they were built in survival, and you are no longer living in survival. You are stepping into belonging. You are stepping into wholeness. You are stepping into a life where your heart is not an afterthought, but a sanctuary. And as this transformation continues, your relationships will also shift. Some connections will deepen because they were always meant to walk beside your growth. Others will fall away, not out of anger or conflict, but because they were tied to a version of you that no longer exists. You will not need to force anything to stay, nor chase anything that leaves. What is meant for you will remain, not because you cling to it, but because it recognizes the truth of who you are becoming. You will find yourself drawn to people who value your spirit, your presence, your sincerity, not just your strength or your ability to endure. You will find conversations that nourish your soul instead of draining it. You will find environments where your heart can breathe. And you will realize that this shift was not something you needed to struggle for. It was the natural result of allowing yourself to be held by love. You are not entering a life free of challenges, my beloved child, but you are entering a life where challenges do not break you, where uncertainty does not overwhelm you, where loss does not define you, because your identity is no longer built on external conditions. It is rooted in something eternal, in me. As you continue to walk forward, you will see beauty where you once saw emptiness. You will feel gratitude where you once felt resentment. You will experience wonder where you once felt numbness. The world has not changed, but you have, and that changes everything. You are stepping into the quiet power of a soul that knows it is loved beyond measure. And as you continue to awaken in this way, my beloved child, you will begin to understand that nothing in your life has been random, nothing wasted, nothing meaningless. Every moment that felt heavy was shaping your capacity to carry light. Every heartbreak was teaching your spirit how deeply it could feel and still rise again. Every silence was teaching you to listen with your inner being rather than your anxious mind. Even the chapters that you wished had ended differently were preparing you to recognize the difference between love that merely glimmers and love that truly sustains. I have been guiding you through layers of becoming, not to make you stronger in the way the world defines strength, but to make you rooted, grounded, unshaken in your essence. You are not being rebuilt into someone new. You are being returned to the person you were always meant to be before fear entered, before disappointment hardened you, before self-doubt told you stories about your worth that were never true. I am peeling away everything that was never yours to carry. I am uncovering your original radiance, the soft courage, the compassionate fire, the depth of soul that has always been your truest expression. You will look back one day and realize that what felt like breaking was actually opening, that what felt like being lost was actually being redirected, that what felt like being forgotten was actually being prepared. You are entering a season where you will feel the stability of my presence, not as an idea, but as a living reality, guiding every step, every decision, every conversation. You will notice that peace follows you into rooms where chaos once overwhelmed you. You will walk with a quiet assurance that does not need to be explained or defended. You will speak with clarity that rises not from rehearsed confidence, but from truth living openly within you. Even your silence will carry healing. Even your presence will bring calm. Because the peace I am establishing in you is not shallow, it is deep and unmovable. It does not depend on external validation. It does not require perfect circumstances. It does not shift with others' opinions. It is anchored in my love, which does not change. You will wake in the morning with a different sense of your life, not as something to endure, but as something unfolding with purpose. The heaviness that once sat on your chest will no longer be the first thing you feel. Instead, a quiet warmth will meet you, a reminder that you are not stepping into the day alone. And when challenges come, you will not fear them, because you will know that you are carried, supported, and guided at every turn. You will no longer feel the need to fight for your place in this world. Your place is already secure in my heart. You belong, not because you have proven anything, but because you were created in love and for love, and nothing can undo that. And as this belonging settles more deeply into your awareness, you will notice the way your heart begins to open again, not in the desperate way it once did, trying to earn love or prove its worth, but in a grounded and gentle way that knows it is love, that it has value, that it deserves tenderness. Your openness will no longer be a risk. It will be a reflection of trust in the foundation being restored within you. You will no longer give pieces of yourself away in hope of being seen.